Welcome guys to my second subclass PvP build, this time based on a ranged Templar, with 2 Templar skill lines, Andric Spear and Dawn's Wrath, which I have combined with the Necromancer one called Gravelord. Rangebar was already broken before, now it got even empowered thanks to subclassing. Let's start with the Templar changes. First one is about Radiant Glory, alias Jesus Beam. This ability's channel time got increased from 1.8 seconds to 3.8, so a 2 seconds longer channel time. On top, the execute bonus starts at 33%, or on the other morph at 40%, instead starting at 50%. A big nerf sadly with this change here. Both morphs are now dodgeable, in efforts to help prevent it from being a complete death sentence at low HP targets in PvP. Makes sense even if experienced players already simply blocked with low HP, right? But should help a lot for most players. In my opinion, still a banger execute and worth it to use for a range setup. Next change is about the passive Burning Light. This passive now scales off 50% of your weapon spell damage rather than 42% and 4% max Magicka and stamina. Increase also the status effect chance per hit to 10%, up from 3, so a small buff here. The passive Spear Wall got a buff too. It procs a minor Berserk now, plus 5% more damage, on top of minor protection for 6 seconds. Piercing Spear buffed his passives, increased the critical damage and damage done to blocking players to 12%, up from 10%. Now the remaining Templar skills, with still Aurora Javelin, a brutal, unblockable range damage knockback. Really nasty to play against, a nightmare CC for most players. Next up, Vampire's Bane, for mainly the crit buff Major Prophecy, 12% spare crit, and a decent flame based damage over time, with a huge duration of 32 seconds. I prefer this one over Calm Hunter, but both are viable. Last but not least, Power of the Light, a precast direct damage burst skill which procs the standard status effect for extra direct damage, spell damage and minor breach, almost 3k penetration. Done with Templar, now the biggest change starts with the Necromancer skill Blighted Blast Bones. A precast burst AoE skill deals huge amount of damage, applies major defi, 12% healing and shield strength reduction, plus minor defi with the disease status effect, so another 8% on top. The damage combos with this one are just ridiculous, guys. Next active Necro skill is Skeleton Archer for the major sorcery buff, plus 20% spell damage and decent damage over time. Some passive changes here with Death Knell. This passive now increases your critical chance by 20% against targets under 33% health if you have a Gravelord ability just slotted. Not like before, 10% crit chance per Gravelord ability slotted against enemies under 25% health. So a huge buff here. Talking about huge, the passive Dismember got increased from 1.5k pen to over 3.2k penetration. Insane penetration buff. The last but not least passive is about reusable parts. Reduce the cost of your Necro summon skills from 50 to 66%. Blast Bones and Archer are super cheap abilities, so no need to worry about stamina issues. Non-class skills are Fearing Soul, a spammable with the flame damage focus script, should give you the extra damage against vampires. Anchorite's Cruelty, still a signature one for the Oblivion damage, and the Major Breach as FX script needed for the 6k penetration. For non-scribing users, I recommend Crushing Shock here and swap out the Execute Radiant Glory for Ilysas. Should be an easier playstyle and damage wise more or less the same, to be honest, just harder to execute obviously. Race Against Time as snare removable for movement speed and crit damage. Alternative Blood Mist or even Shuffle, which only works with 5 medium armor pieces, are good options too for those who simply don't have access to the Psychic Order skill line, or for the lazy ones, no judgment here. I hate grinding Psychic too, ultra boring. Resolving Vigor is healing over time and extra armor. Healing Contingency, the scribing skill is burst here, with Gladiator's Tenacity 8% damage mitigation and minor intellect plus endurance 15% extra Magicka and stamina recovery. A huge one as FX script. Alternative minor protection works too if you want to push the uptime higher, but keep in mind with the Templar passive Spear Wall we already get minor protection. Although you need to keep using Javelin every 6 seconds for max uptime, aim for every 10 seconds should be usually enough. For non-scribing user, the resto skills, Healing Ward, Rapid Regeneration are the best choices. Talking about resto stuff, yes, I'm using one because of the powerful healing ulti Life Giver. This one delivers basically almost 5 seconds immortality, a huge burst heal over time, which automatically casts Regeneration, Blessing of Protection and Steadfast Ward. These will update based on which morph of each ability you have taken. Means as solo player, Rapid Regeneration, Blessing of Restoration and Healing Ward are the best choices for the most amount of self-healing. In group play, Radiant Regeneration and Ward Ally are good choices, your teammates will be thankful. As damage ultimate Shooting Star, which is undodgeable, in this case by far the best choice. If you combine combos with the unblockable Javelin, the result ends mostly with a guaranteed ultimate hit. Alternative Dawnbreaker of Smiting should be the second best choice. Like on my previous subclass build, Major Resolve, the 6k armor buff is missing too. That's why the monster set Shudan is needed, or Bloodspawn as second best option. Both are extremely easy to farm. Frontbar set is Wedge Vitality. Since we are missing on a huge sustain skill called Channeled Focus, the craftable sustain set is definitely needed here. Backbar, classic Rally Cry for tankiness and spell damage, combined with Deathless Feet as mythic and 120 as filler for the HP. A pure offensive set is really not needed, damage is already high enough. Armor types: 1 heavy chest, 1 light armor sash with 5 medium, reinforced chest for the maximum amount armor, 1 sturdy and 5 well fitted. These traits are just based on my specific playstyle, adapt them into your playstyle if needed. Full prismatic armor glyphs as usual, jewelry, only 1 Magicka recovery, 2 spell damage. In group play, full damage shouldn't be a problem. Frontbar lightning staff for 12% direct damage, in sharpened with a poison glyph, simply because we already got 2 flame damage based abilities to proc burning. Like this we gain an extra status effect with the poison status effect, should deliver overall slightly more damage. Backbar restoration stuff in defending with the escape is poison. Raised armor for the extra spell damage, flame resistance, max magic and stamina. Other choices like high elf or breath of a cost reduction also work. Mundus the Arcanist for the extra Magicka recovery, Vamp stage 3 for the undeath passive, up to 15% damage mitigation. Smoked Branch, Best in Snort for the extra Magicka and stamina recovery, and max health, 34 points into Magicka, the rest into HP. Like this I'm at around 31k HP without Deathless Feet. Potion, the normal Tricer potion. NCP is pretty basic with Raw Strikes, Master Arms, Duel's Rebuff and Ironclad. Red ones sustain plus suffering, paints your huge celebrity and survival instincts. Let's talk about the rotation, more in detail like in my previous build. Starting off with the Prebuff Rotation. So the abilities you need to precast before even engaging into combat. Sometimes there is no time if you get forced into one by, for example, a hidden opponent, but still worth a show. Start with Vampire's Bane for the crit buff. It has by far the longest duration, followed by Skeleton Archer for the spell damage buff. Next Vigor for armor and healing, race against time, movement speed and crit damage, and last Contingency for damage mitigation and sustain. Assure that these essential buffs are up, especially in combat. Next I'll show you one possible viable burst damage combo, which you need to adapt yourself, depending on the situation obviously. It's not like your enemies are standing still like a target dummy. First of all, apply Vampire's Bane and Skeleton Archer if they're not already up. Use Power of the Light on backbar. You can also put it on frontbar for Vampire's Bane if you want to. Does not affect any passives, I just like it this way more. Use Blast Bones directly after, followed by Fury Soul, and now the ultimate Shooting Star into Javelin into Radiant Glory. The most important part here is timing. Try to line up Blast Bones with Power of the Light and Shooting Star. Use Javelin shortly before all 3 abilities hit, with Fury Soul in between as spammable. I will guarantee you an insane amount of burst damage. Most players cannot even dodge or block this combo, since Javelin is unblockable and Shooting Star undodgeable. In hectic situations it's already enough if Blast Bones gets timed with your spammable and Javelin. This alone sets most players under pressure. Unlike Deep Fissure, Blast Bones automatically follows your opponents, so positioning does not even matter here. Last but not least is about the defensive rotation, so how to behave properly in terms of survivability. First tip is about healing Contingency. This skill procs with the activation of another skill, and also with a roll dodge. So if we use Contingency twice in a row, followed by a roll dodge, we create a powerful double burst here because it procs twice in a split of a second. Way more effective than just spamming it. Try it out, I'm sure it can help in some fights. Next is about Blast Bones. It is a targetable ability, means it's basically nothing else than a damage shield. Gets often accidentally hit by players. The small skeleton tanks even ultimates like a champ. Aurora Javelin is useful to build some distance between you and enemies. In 1v situations I often spam it multiple times on different opponents. Delivers some time and space to be able to go line of sight, and on top it delivers minor protection with the Templar passive. Next up is Race Against Time. Pretty obvious use this one if you are snared, slowed, rooted or immobilized. Will purge the effect instantly, and the extra movement speed makes kiting more effective. About our healing ulti, Life Giver, it's not only meant to use with low HP, precasted to guarantee almost immortality for a few seconds if you wanna simply go offensive to burst a player down as fast as possible, without thinking about survivability. Last but not least tip is pretty obvious, keep your distance. It is a full range setup, not a single ability is melee based, so no reason to go close combat. Now that's it with my second subclass PvP build. If you have some questions, type them down below or add me on Discord. Thanks for watching, enjoy this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. How could I know?